Hello, the second video begins here atop the Cayley embankment, Rhos-on-Sea, and we're going up there. The Penrhos College ground, which was set on a massive campus stretching almost from Brompton Avenue over there, today mainly comprises of Beckett Close, Wainwright Close and Chatsworth Close. But it's a large area, and sadly, even though it only disappeared say 25 years ago, I'm finding it really difficult to imagine there being any fields or a football ground here, even though I remember it as Penrhos College. Beckett's Close over there is just a cul-de-sac, and there's houses here. So we'll take a walk through the site where the college buildings were situated. So we'll be going through Wainwright Close, through to Chatsworth Close, to the upper promenade, or back promenade of Colwyn Bay. Remarkable to think really that a football club barely 20 years into its existence in a mostly rural area where there was no shortage of fields was already moving into its fifth football venue. The three photographs I'm going to put up show the Penrhos College Fields area from around the time the football club were playing here, from 1901 through to 1910. They show no definitive football ground, but the fields were quite large, and a Colwyn Bay cricket club shared the field with the football club for at least some of the time, as far as I could make out. So that in itself indicates that the fields were a big area, and maybe even the football club themselves used to move the football pitch around. It was only coming into the 2000s when I could have come here and filmed and probably recognised where the football ground was, and then the area got developed into this, and once again, I'm afraid, scandalously, that lovely hydropathic building got knocked down. We will just pop over here as well, go north to that wall over there, so you can see how close to the sea the fields and the college, Penrhos College campus was. Very nice. You may not be able to hear me properly now because there's a fairly significant draft blowing. And what everywhere else before I came here was a fairly calm summer's early morning. Such is life. I do have a vague memory of going into the hydropathic building in the mid 1990s and being very impressed with the staircase. Don't know if anyone out there has any photographs of the inside of that building. Ooh, and here comes the rain. There's the upper or back promenade, as we used to call it when we were kids. There's the railway line, and that's where we've just come from. Chatsworth Close. Still saddens me really to think what was here. I know houses need building and people need nice places to live, which this is, but it's still quite sad, I think. Anyway, by January 1910, after a couple of seasons of problems, the football club ceased playing here at Penrhos College, and they next popped up the following month at the Marine Field, or as it is now, the southwest corner of Kensington Avenue, Old Colwyn. And I think that the football pitch came down to about here, went behind those houses there in the corner, and most of the pitch was in the back garden of these houses, on this road, and to these houses here. So where I am now, we're probably somewhere between the edge of the 18-yard box and the corner flag. Before we carry on, we'll go back up to the top of the donkey path and we'll work our way back down to here from there, up this path here. Top of the donkey path, Marine Hotel. It always seems to be busy here, no matter what time of day you come, but I just wanted to point out that back in the 1910s, most people would have gone to the ground on foot, because most people didn't have a car then, to the football ground, down the donkey path. Before then, I'm sure a number of them went for a quick pint to the Marine Hotel, which has had connections to the football club since around, well, 1910, when the club moved to this area. And even though it's daft o'clock in the morning, it's even now, it's busy at this marine roundabout. It's crazy really, but there you go. This is the path you can see on the map in Oh, sorry mate. This is the path you can see on the map that I'm putting up now. It was referred to in 1910 as Lover's Walk, but locals will know it as the Donkey Path. And it helps us to reasonably accurately locate where the football field actually was in the Kensington Avenue area, because the path actually emerges at the football ground. Here you do a left turn and it would have taken you down, before the expressway was built, to the beach under the railway. But this is the path that may have led directly onto the football ground, and it may still be here because it was a path to the football field. Who knows? To give an idea of where the football pitch was in Kensington Avenue, I'm going to superimpose the shape of a football pitch over the map of the area, and then I'll also superimpose the pitch over Google Maps from today. It's all approximate, but you know, hopefully it gives a reasonable surmise of where the pitch was. This is another part of the donkey path, and from Kensington Avenue, which is just through that gap there, we're going to take a walk to Colwyn Bay's next ground, which they moved to in 1920. They were at the Marine Field from 1910, February 1910, until the end of the 1919-20 season. That was just one season after the Great War. Towards the end of their final season then at the Marine Field, the club were already making plans to move to a field by the county school, now Eirias High School, in Eirias Park, and moving there in 1920. The club, in effect, was the first organisation to start developing Eirias Park as a recreation area. The Colwyn Bay Municipal Authority didn't start developing Eirias Park until around 1921, and the first thing they did was to open a children's playground. I had a nice chat then with a chap who remembered watching the bay at their old Eirias Park ground, which coincidentally was there. But we'll talk about that in a later video. That's where the county school ground was, over there. The county school ground where the club moved to for the 1920-21 season and stayed here until the 1937-38 season, which of course ended in disaster and had an effect on the club for over 50 years. Where we're stood here, behind it, Eirias Park, the boating lake. This would have been the old Colwyn end goal, if you like. Over there was a major seated grandstand built. down most of this touchline here by the early 1930s as the club entered the Birmingham League 31-2 season. There was a terraced stand for standing spectators up there. Don't know if you can see it. The gates are kind of a dog leg in the road, really. That's where the turnstiles were to come in. We'll take a look at that later. And behind that building we have the original Eirias High School, of course. But that building and another building behind it, they're probably taking up 2/3 of what was the old Colwyn Bay football ground here. This is where the club had most of its success before the war. Won various cups, came runners-up in the league twice, and then finally won a league title. 1930-31 season. It's where the great Johhny Neal played. It's where many good quality football league players turned out. Also, to date, the largest ground in the football club's history. Had a capacity by the early 1930s of 7,500, and most of them could be accommodated underneath roofed stands. Up here, where there's a kind of a dog leg in the road there, and then it goes down there. So I think that was a path when the football club played here. This was where the turnstile entrance to the ground was, which you can clearly see on maps and on the drawing that I'm going to put up. I got given this drawing many years ago by somebody whose father was involved with the club at the time, and forgive me, but I'm afraid I can't remember who it was. Such is the old memory. But you can clearly see the turnstiles there. And there's a nice view of the oak trees. This line of oak trees here roughly mark the boundary of the ground. They go up there. They do a 90-degree turn, more or less, going down here. To a part of the ground that the football club spent a lot of money on. This is the north-east corner of the ground, the opposite corner to where the turnstiles were. Runs down towards the bowling green. It's of interest because the club spent hundreds of pounds, probably tens of thousands of pounds in today's money, levelling off this corner of the ground because it dipped quite severely down towards the bowling greens, the football pitch that is, and for quite a number of seasons the club would repeatedly fill the area with new soil, which presumably would then settle and dip. Like I said, it's of interest because you can see, if you go up to where the edge of Eirias High School's playground is now, there is a significant height difference between the edge of the playground there, could be getting on for 2 meters maybe, and the bank here, the bowling green there behind it. So I'll put up a close-up of a map now, and I think it shows where the edge of the football ground was, and I think it matches that bank there, hidden by trees and bushes now obviously. Wouldn't have been back then, I don't think. And it's all kind of part of the tragedy of the football club's demise in 1938, because football club may even have constructed this little wall here, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's part of the tragedy of the club in 1938, because when they were forced to vacate the ground because the education authority had bought it, leaving the club homeless, over the previous 18 seasons the club had spent, well, in today's money, probably hundreds of thousands of pounds developing the ground into one of the best stadiums in Wales. That concludes this second video, looking at the lost grounds of Colwyn Bay Football Club. Brings us up to the Second World War. So in the next video we'll start looking at the post-war period, when in 1945 a now new amateur Colwyn Bay Football Club, no longer called Colwyn Bay United, started all over again, playing in a field, and from being one of the top clubs in Wales, playing in one of the best stadiums in Wales, and having had, oh gosh, for most of the 18 seasons leading up to their demise in 1938, having employed a mostly full-time professional team. When the 1945-6 season began again, Colwyn Bay was now an amateur team, playing in the field, way out of town. And in truth, I don't think it was till the 1980s that Colwyn Bay Football Club began to emerge again as a significant non-league force in Welsh football, albeit there was a little period of success in the mid-60s. But we'll look at those events in the next video. Thanks for watching this. It's over and out from me for now. And as ever, if you have any stories to tell, any old photographs, anything, recollections or memories about Colwyn Bay Football Club, I'm always happy to hear them. Take care. Bye now.